Hi everyone, my name's Spencer and welcome home. You seemed to like that accidental intro last time, and as long as it doesn't sound like I'm inviting you to join a cult, then we're good. It can stay. Today I'm going to be showing you my August bullet journal setup, and I initially had a different theme planned for August, but during one of my weekly live streams you guys requested this theme, and since I did a Studio Ghibli theme last August, I thought I would continue it for this August. So this time I am going to do Spirited Away, which is... it is up there, it's tied with Howl's Moving Castle as my favourite Studio Ghibli film. I don't know if that makes me a basic bitch or not, but I aspire to be like Howl and Haku, okay? I want to be a Studio Ghibli boy. So this was another drawing heavy month, but I don't mind it so much. Again, I thought having a slightly smaller bullet journal would make me do simpler things, but no, it just challenged me to get more complicated things in a smaller space. Not that I mind, I think it looks really cool. I didn't do a quote this month because I was so focused on the drawing, but I might include one in a weekly spread or something like that if I feel like I need some motivation throughout the month. Last month I did a Legend of Zelda theme for my setup, and I really loved it. It was a brilliant way of getting me into my journal each day because I was excited about what I was going to see on the page. So I wanted to have that again this month. Where I would usually put a quote in my bullet journal, I actually decided to draw the iconic bathhouse from Spirited Away. And this took me bloody ages. Like, literally ages. I can't tell you how long it actually took me to draw because I basically just hyper-focused and time was an illusion when I was working on this. So I obviously used references to draw this because there's no way I could remember what it looked like. And it's not perfect, but I think it gives off the right vibe and it looks close enough to what it looks like in the film. So I'm pretty happy with it. On the other side of the page, I of course drew Haku, my boy, my first love. I absolutely love Haku. He is one of my favourite characters ever. Even though I think he was maybe oversimplified in the dub. But yeah, anyway, I love him. For like the bigger bolder lines, I used a mix of my 0.5 and 0.3. But for a lot of the bathhouse, I ended up using my 0.1 Spectrum Noir fineliner, just because it was so detailed and I needed to be able to like get right in there. I wasn't sure initially whether I was going to colour this page using pens or pencils, so I actually did like the rest of the setup and then came back to colour this in, but I thought I would show you it kind of the pages being done in sequence. So I also needed to give my hands a break after drawing this because it was pretty intense. Because of how intensive it was on my hands to draw, I decided that I would colour it in using pens. I have a bigger variety of pen colours than I do pencils, and from last month I found out that using pencils actually makes my hands hurt even more. Whereas using pens, I can be a lot lighter to get the shade that I want. In fact, I have to be lighter to get the exact shade I want. So I decided to colour it in pen. I didn't use my gold metallic pen to colour in any of the gold bits of the bathhouse because in the film it's more of a yellow gold. My pen's kind of like a deeper gold, so I went in with my yellow brush pen and then knocked it back using my lighter shade of tombows. I believe it was an 89, just to create the shading and make it look darker in places, and then I do go in with a white gel pen to put the highlights, and that gave it the gold look without needing to use a gold metallic pen and kind of break up the image. I don't think I have focused on anything more than I did doing this drawing. Not even Howl's Moving Castle last year. Because whilst that was also really detailed, I didn't colour that in, I kept it as line work because I was scared of ruining it. Which is also a fear that I had with this one, but I decided just to go with it. I took pictures of it as line art, essentially, so if I hated it coloured, I could print it out and cover it over, or just have a record of what it looked like before I ruined it with pens. But it turns out I didn't ruin it. I think it actually looks really good. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of myself for getting it done and doing it to this level. It's also really good practice for perspective again. I do come back and like add bits in and fix it up, because at the moment it kind of looks like the bathhouse is hovering, because I missed out a couple of buildings right at the front because I didn't want to draw them. So yeah, I go in and just kind of make it look like the bathhouse extends down in a little bit. More so than the actual bathhouse, I was so worried about ruining how my Haku dragon looked. Haku is really important to me for many reasons. He's kind of been an icon for me, him and Hal, in like realizing that I'm trans and my style and like my self-realization and things like that. And I love him. I love him. So I wanted to do him credit and do him proud in this image, and I was really worried I was going to ruin it. But again, I think it came out really well. I'm still learning how to do shading properly and things like that. So I was obviously using references and trying to translate that into this style, because the reference that I used, I think, was a painting. So there weren't like clean lines of the shading. Yeah, I also fixed that little bit on the bridge to kind of tie the two pages together, so it looks like Haku's has actually kind of flown through the bridge, and just his tail is still over it. Mostly because I didn't want to try and draw people either. So where Chihiro in the image stands on the bridge, I put Haku's tail. So that's not to say I don't love Chihiro. I love Chihiro. She's amazing. I just didn't fancy trying to draw her at this point. So for my monthly setup, I did my usual thing of creating a calendar over a double page spread. August, I mean, you've probably heard this from all of the bullet journalers, but August is spread over 6 weeks this year, as it starts on a Sunday. So it's a slightly larger calendar than usual, but I think I made it work. I did briefly wonder if maybe I should start my week on a Sunday in this journal to try and make it work a little better, but that didn't sit right with me because all of my other journals and planners and things like that, they're all Monday start dates, so it doesn't make sense to just start my bullet journal on a Sunday. I did my best to actually recreate the Studio Ghibli font or Studio Ghibli. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I don't know. I've heard it both ways, and although I did study Japanese at university for a little bit, I didn't exactly pass it, so yeah, I tried my best to recreate the font. Again, S's are the bane of my life, and if I never have to write one again in like bubble font, I will be happy, but I know I will end up having to do more and there will be more mistakes. Me and the letter S are not on speaking terms at the moment. We're not friends. I did that both for the days of the week across the top, and I did also write August again at the top. I don't usually do this, but I wanted something to go in the space at the top of this, and I thought that would work, so I did it. So I did just the stars down the right hand side because I wanted to make sure that colour continued over, and then on the other side I did all of the sprites reaching for little stars and treats. I assume they're the food. I think they're the food. Anyway, so I did a bunch of those. You can see here I started trying to freehand them despite having used the template when I sketched it, and I was like, why am I doing this? I'm making this way harder on myself. So I just got the template back out and used that instead. I started to colour them in by going around the eyes so I could try and maintain the shape. Look at these little emo sprites. They do kind of look like the members of My Chemical Romance, not gonna lie. Also, tag yourself, which sprite are you? I think I am the one in the top left corner, and the little one who's looking at his star a bit skeptically. I think that's who I am. Using the same colours that I used on the calendar, I just coloured in all of those little stars. And I wanted something in this bottom corner as well. I could have just left it with the sprites and stars, but I really wanted to try and draw Komachi. And oh my god, when I was rewatching Spirited Away the other day for research, I came to the realization that whilst I really wish I was Haku, I am in fact Kamaji. You know, tea drinking, gangly limbed, far too many limbs, and absolutely atrocious posture. Yeah, I'm Kamaji. If you want an accurate representation of what I look like on the day-to-day, look at Kamaji. Again, I used references to draw this, and a combination of my stencil to get some clean lines and just freehanding different bits. I really like this shot where Kamaji, it's when he finally turns his attention to Chihiro, and also kind of the audience, because that's how the camera is positioned. So I wanted to replicate that, so like Kamaji's looking out of the page at me like, get this shit done, bitch! But also reminding me to hydrate and have a cup of tea. The next page that I set up was my trackers page. I went back to doing horizontal ones this month, but I didn't do it in a table like I usually do. I decided, for some ungodly reason, that I would do mini calendars for my habits. I've had better ideas, let's put it that way. But I saw this idea on Pinterest and I really wanted to recreate it in my monthly setup. So I did all of my habits on individual bath tokens, the ones that are given to Chihiro by No Face. And yeah, I love how this looks. Like, it was a pain in the ass to make, to write out all the numbers many times, but I really love how it looked in the end. I was also going to not colour over the calendar part and leave that white, and then throughout the month colour in the day that I complete the habit, but I got a little happy with my pen, so ended up colouring them all in completely red. But honestly, it makes me happy to look at it like this because they kind of look complete and like the bath tokens. So I go in with the same red pen to mark out the days of the week. So I think I'll probably do something similar to cross off the habits that I do. I'll just put a line through or colour it in a little bit darker. Like on the bath tokens, which have different shapes on them to denote what type of token it is, I created black shapes on mine and in a white pen wrote what habit it was that I was tracking this month. So this month I'm tracking my meds as usual, my art, my writing, my skincare, some meditation and days off. On the bottom half of this spread I did my mood and pain tracker, which I always pair together because it's interesting to see if there's a correlation. And I'm doing one very similar to what I did last month. Although last month was vertical, this month I'm doing it horizontal. So I just created, for like the title part, another kind of token shape, although I obviously, as you can see, didn't make it the colours of the token, I just made it kind of stand out a bit, and gave it a little key. So I will draw sprites on one side for how much pain I was in, and on the other side I will do stars for my mood. I think I'll probably grey the sprites out again rather than doing them in black, because black is very visible and your eye is drawn to it quite quickly, and I don't want the focus to be on how much pain I was in, but rather the positive mood I was in. And this worked really well last month, so that's why I'm doing it again. And of course I couldn't have a Spirited Away themed setup without drawing good old friend No Face. I love No Face. Such a cryptid, but I love him so much. Just remember to give the gold back. So the next spread that I did is my playlist spread, and I included this for the first time last month, and although I usually kind of keep a record in my Spotify, I really liked writing it down in my bullet journal and having that little space to just write a bit about the song that I was listening to, why I liked it, why it was like, you know, hitting home or anything like that near it. So I've decided to include another one. This one doesn't have space for quite as many songs as my last one did, but I tend to kind of get obsessed with like 5 songs that I will just play over and over throughout a month, so I thought 5 would be an okay amount to keep. And again, I used that Studio Ghibli font to do the title, I gradually got better at doing the S's throughout the month, but I still hate them and do not want to ever write S ever again. Also, the shape of A that they use was really difficult for me to draw, but I think they came out okay. So for my playlist spread, I decided to kind of recreate the scene when Haku is being attacked by the paper planes, which Chihiro mistakes for birds. Originally, I was going to have the songs kind of written on the wings of the paper planes, but I instead did it this way with the paper planes going behind it and it kind of looking like it was up in the sky. And I like this a lot more than the initial sketch that I did. So it just looks a bit more organic and real, and I tried to do shading again, and I think it came out okay. I love this next page. It's not for anything in particular, it's just a notes page, just so if I have any thoughts throughout the month, or things that I'm like, oh, I need to get this done, but I'm not ready to schedule it yet, I can just pop it on this page. And so I wanted something that would catch my eye, because a lot of the time I'll put notes somewhere and then forget where it is. So having a dedicated space for that is one reason why I did this. But also, this drawing, when I'm flicking through my bullet journal, really catches my eye and makes me go back and look at it. So I will hopefully be more inclined to look at the things I note down because of this. I kept it in like the blue theme to match the other page, so they kind of look like they go together, but aren't the same image, if that makes sense. So, although they happen around the same time in the film, because obviously this is when the giant baby and the evil bird thing get turned into tiny bird and big rat. And I would just like to point out now, YouTube, I am not drawing anything inappropriate, even though it looks like that at times. This is in fact a rat mouse thing being held up by a tiny bird, not anything else. Please do not mute comments on my channel again because of something inappropriate. I also remembered that I had washi tapes to use for this setup, which I put in the corner of this shot to try and remind me that they were there and I could use them, because if I can't see the thing, I'm gonna forget that it exists. But I somehow, despite it being there, managed to still forget that it existed. But at this point I remembered. And the blue matched perfectly with the blue that I had used on the spread. So I decided to kind of make these look a little more tied together by using washi tape across the top and bottom. My next spread is another new one. This spread is quite specific to me, but I guess you could also use it if you were planning a trip of any kind. And this is my Swanick prep pages. So a lot of you know that I am attending Swanick, the Writers' Summer School, this year. And not only am I attending for the first time, I am actually teaching a course there, which is terrifying, but also absolutely amazing. So I've got a lot to organise prior to going. So I thought I would make a spread to help me keep up with all of that. And the Swanick colours are kind of this tealy blue anyway, so I decided that I would kind of connect this page with the last ones, with the Swanick theme. So I continued using the blue to do the titles. To further tie it back to the other spreads that I did, I made the main heading the hollow writing like I did for August right back at the beginning of the video. I also, yes, did write 2 different styles of W's. Don't ask me why, I was looking at the reference. I believe I actually, in pencil, did the correct W, which is the second one, on both of them. And then when I did it in pen, I just totally ignored it and did what my brain told me to do, which was incorrect for the Studio Ghibli font. But I created 4 columns for this page, a to-do list, which is just a general kind of brain dump of things that need to get organised before. And then the to pack and organise columns are to kind of refine that and take that brain dump and organise those thoughts a little bit better. So in the to-do, I might write something like, decide what clothes to take, and then in to pack, I will make notes of the exact things that I want to take with me, like clothes-wise. Another example would be that in to-do, I put sort out course prep, whereas in organise, I would be more specific about what bits actually need sorting. So get printouts of the handouts and like put them in a folder to take with, like that sort of thing, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it's helpful for you guys, but I thought I would show you this anyway. And for the Ghibli doodle on this page, I decided to draw Chihiro's going away card that she got from her classmates, because it's really cute and like a little postcard, and since Swanwick is a trip away for me, I thought it would make sense to have it here. Also, it just looks really cute. And I would just like to say I have not written Japanese in forever, so I was kind of nervous about doing it, but I think I did okay. I did my best. I think my hiragana is fine. Like, hiragana is quite easy once you know what you're doing, but I'm not entirely sure of my stroke order on the kanji, so I apologize if I did any of it wrong. I was completely going off of memory on how to do them, so I apologize if they're wrong. So yeah, I added some washi tape to the card, and then to bring in a bit more of that pink element that's associated with Chihiro, I added some more washi tapes to the top corner, and I think this really brought it together. I really like how it looks. There we go, time for the final flip through. We have my cover page, we have my monthly setup with our good friend Kamaji, my tracker page with habits, mood and pain, my playlist and notes page, and my Swanwick page. I haven't set up a weekly in this one yet because I'm going to be doing that in my weekly live stream on Sunday, so I hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a like, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so we can hang out some more. I will see you hopefully on Sunday, but if not, in the next video. Bye!